Welcome back. Tom Hartmann here with you, and Gwen in East Harlem, New York City. Hey, Gwen, what's up?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Tom. Can you hear me?
I hear you just fine.
Well, first I wanted to tell you that I am so excited that I can see you on TV at Manhattan Neighborhood Network.
That's great.
I didn't know you were on.
Me too.
And and I see your big fat cat because he looks like my tabby cat.
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess I wanted to tell you first, thank you for explaining redlining the best that anybody has ever explained it. Great. You must be a teacher somewhere in your life because you made that nice and easy. But, you know, I've been occupying Wall Street since it's open and have continued up till about the beginning of this month. But I am beginning to feel very disillusioned, not just because, well, there are so many things that make it difficult. For example, Mayor Bloomberg has armed guards in there that are paramilitary on Sunday when we go to meet. So we don't just have the regular police force going against us. We have people that are, you know, people that were in the Army. And as far as I understood, we have a civilian police force that we're supposed to have here, not paramilitary going after the people. But
well, I think you have a civilian police force that's dressed like stormtroopers, that's dressed like military.
I absolutely know this for a fact because
this is the U.S. Army?
Well, yes, the United States Army. What happened was, you know, we had been getting policemen in there, and we still do have policemen. Right. And then the uniforms changed. So I actually walked up to a couple of them, and I said, you know, you don't look like policemen to me. And he said, well, we're not. And I said, well, who are you? I said, you know, you look like you're in the military. He says, we are. He said, I just got back from Iraq. And he said, Mayor Bloomberg feels that we need to be here observing these groups. We are the paramilitary police force, and we're here to observe what you do.
I wonder if it's the National Guard, the New York State National Guard, because they've been deployed to Iraq.
These were not National Guard. This is his words to me was, we are paramilitary. And he was one of the Marines. And I got into conversation with him because my husband, who's a postal worker, also was a Marine. Yeah. So we got to talking on that level. And it's very, very uncomfortable to go there on Sundays because we're now inside of 60 Wall Street.
Right.
And, you know, these are groups of people that I work with a group of, you know, it's a group called Occupy Department of Education now.
Right.
And, you know, we are regularly being observed and watched. But on just talking about Occupy Wall Street, what's really concerning me now is how the politicians and even the not-for-profits who really don't represent neighborhoods a lot of times. They represent keeping their little machine going, but they don't represent the people in our neighborhoods. We call them poverty pimps where I live. And it's getting to the point where I'm afraid that what started out with Occupy Wall Street, what was great, what I noticed, what was different, and I'm an activist for many, many years, what was different for me when I first went to Occupy was there really wasn't any leaders. It was a movement where everyone was getting to speak. Everybody had, it was great. I mean, people, every person there was getting to speak, and it didn't matter if you were from the homeless shelter or, you know, if you had a fur coat on. Everybody was getting to participate in the conversation about what is going on with our country and what we should do about it. But since it was crashed, you know, a couple months ago, it's begun changing, and more it's being used by bogus politicians. I mean, one of the politicians, who is a multimillionaire herself, you know, claims to be somebody who is representing Occupy Wall Street. Well, excuse me, she's one of the people that rezoned the whole corridor of 125th Street in Harlem, right, which is emptying out and gentrifying Harlem as fast as, you know, we can speak. And
Gwen, this always happens. I just have to say, this always happens. When you have any kind of a successful movement, you're going to have a lot of people who want to jump into it, including people with money.
Right.
I mean, you know, you've got Ben Cohen, for example, who has contributed some money tried to contribute money to Occupy Wall Street. And some people are pushing back, and other people are saying, cool, let's take the money and do something good with it. These are the things that the movement has to sort out. And I'm not going to try to offer any advice about how to sort them out. But these you know, that would first of all, it's not my role to do that, and secondly, it wouldn't be, you know, it wouldn't matter. But these are the things, and I think you and I both know this. These are these are the growing pains of a movement. These are actually, in many ways, a very healthy sign, and I would not despair about it or be upset about it. I think that, you know, the fact that people with money, or people who have particular agendas, or people who want to use Occupy Wall Street to promote their own thing, whatever. All the hanger-oners, all the promoters, the people who want to collaborate, the people who genuinely want to participate, the people, everything, all that stuff happening. All of that is a sign that you guys are successful. And it's a sign, and the challenge that you have now is to figure out, do you want to be or I shouldn't say you, but does Occupy Wall Street, does this group want to be a small, insular, exclusive group just unto itself, or does it want to integrate itself into the larger society? And if so, how? Because there's 100 different ways to do that, or 1,000 different ways to do that.
Right.
And some of those ways will involve diluting their influence, but on the other hand, because they become part of the, instead of being a big frog in a little pond, they become a little frog in a bigger pond, but they might be a medium-sized frog in a bigger pond. And that's got to be the debate that's going on inside those halls right now, isn't it? How do we do this?
There is a lot of in debating, infighting, clicks, a lot of
Sure.
discomfort, and a lot of people are feeling disappointed too, because I think at the beginning it was very refreshing. And
Well,
I'll
it's
tell you
like
something. I reluctantly went to Occupy Wall Street. I wanted to tell you something. After the last 10 years of fighting against the war movement, I just gave up. I just said the hell with it. I'm not going to any more 2-hour petitions. I'm not doing that anymore.
But then you check this out, and this was great. Gwen, we just have a minute to the end of the show here. I just have to get this thought in. The order of the way that relationships happen is the same way that movements happen. First, people get together and they say, oh, look, you're just like me, and you find all the ways that you're identical. And that's the honeymoon. And then you start noticing, hey, wait a minute, you're different from me. And then you start finding all the differences. And that's when all the conflict emerges. And then if you get through those differences and work out the compromises and figure out, okay, you're different from me, and here's how we can stay together, that's when you have true intimacy. That's when real love rather than romantic love happens. That's when real movements rather than just kind of flash mobs happen. And that's where Occupy Wall Street, in my opinion, is now. And Gwen, as I said, I think it's a good thing. Thank you for the call.